would suggest that because, I could be wrong, but because you are a preferred right-hand turner, I think if you did the left-hand turn first, the right would click right after it because you did the harder one first. But I don't know that the opposite is necessarily true. I think when you do your preferred one first, it's not necessary. It doesn't always click with the less preferred direction in my experience. So one thing I think is a really useful drill to help with the 4-petal turnaround is doing pairs of swivels. So being able to do this swivel, and this helps you with the right turn from overhand to underhand, and then the left turn from underhand to overhand. So this is one. And then the other swivel is when you start in underhand on this side, doing the same thing. That helps you with the right turn from underhand to overhand, and the left turn from overhand to underhand, right? So I think those two swivels are really useful because they're immediate, like you just keep going back and forth between them. Yes, exactly. And because you don't have the challenge of having to add the footwork in, it gives you the ability to just practice the technique portion of it without getting tripped up on your feet or feeling like you're not getting around the turn fast enough. It is kind of fun too. And then my perception was, for you, the weaker one was just observing your lines or shapes overall, because it wasn't the lines specifically. I think your weaker one was turning from the overhand, this one, to the underhand, not the second one. So you might want to just work this swivel more. The pair, the companion for the left hand, same deal, right? So you're doing overhand here to underhand here to overhand here to underhand here to overhand here to underhand here to overhand here to underhand here. And then the second half of that will be you start here in underhand and then you do the 4-petal here and the 4-petal here, going from underhand to overhand to underhand to overhand to underhand to overhand. When you feel comfortable with each of those individually, then guess what? Of course you can do the swivel with the 2 hands before even trying the 360, which I think is a really good stepping stone. So if you stand with your left foot forward using the T stance, okay, and you do this, and then you turn, and you do this, and then you turn, and then you turn, and then you turn, and you're using your T stance swivel situation to get first this swivel, my weight is on the back foot, yes. That's what's comfortable for me. I think it also helps to keep it on the back foot because in the context of the paddle step, if I'm here and I'm swiveling to here and I keep my weight on what was my back foot here, I'm gonna step here and it'll still be that same foot. So you don't actually have to switch the weight from one foot to the other when you're doing the turnaround. So I think it can help have the additional benefit of helping when you get to the turnaround. So I think what you're actually asking me is, Isa, are you shifting your weight when you get to this side? And the answer is, it depends. But right now, like in the example I was giving you where I was saying as you move to the turnaround, no. My weight right now is mostly on my right leg, even though, I mean now it's not because I step back down, but my weight is mostly on my right leg now. But I could step back like that. But if I'm going to do the turnaround, I would just keep the weight here as I put this foot here to do that. And then I would keep the weight here as I put this foot here to push myself off and go around. So it's, if I were just doing the swivel, then yes, I might do that where I'm going like this and pulling my weight back and then pulling my weight back as I swivel, pulling my weight back as I swivel. But if I'm preparing to do the turnaround, I won't do that last step where I pull the weight back. I'll keep the weight here and then use that other foot to push off. Keeping the weight here, pushing off. So, yes, in the context of the swivel, no, in the context of the turnaround. But what I would say is when you come around, okay, so I'm here, my weight is on my heel. Specifically, not only is my weight on my back leg, but my weight is mostly on my heel. And as I pivot, on my heel. Because I do lift my toe and I get here. When I push off, I might spin on my ball and I might spin on my heel. I've been having problems with my knees, so sometimes the ball turn is better than the heel turn for me. You're on concrete, so it's a whole different thing when you're turning. I would suggest, if the ultimate goal for you is for you to be practicing the turnaround where you're doing the full 360, I would suggest as you turn and move your foot, just step it forward. Because that's going to automatically pull your right hip back and it will make space for your right hand to come back here in underhand. I mean, you could do the swivel that way where you, okay, so if I'm using my right foot as the one that's basically, no, my right foot would be the one that's predominantly holding my weight, not the one that I'm pushing off with. So if I'm here like this, when I turn, I might do that, and then do that, and then do that, and then do that, where I'm intentionally stepping with my left foot forward and back. So forward going not to the right, and back going to the left. The thing that I'm pointing out is the difference between your feet doing this, where when you pivot, you come side to side, versus maintaining the openness of the hip. It is my belief / theory that the turns are easier to do when you keep your hip in this open position, because you're already, like if you're here, this is like a quarter of the turn, a quarter of a 360. So you have already put yourself in the position for part of the turn. And I think that makes it easier as you're turning in that direction. Just like I think it would be much harder if you did this, but you were turning to the right. I would say you can almost, when you're doing with your left, you can almost step even further forward because you're like a little forward. You can almost step a little more forward to open the hip back more. I mean, in general, even though you're not a girl, I want you to embody sassy girl energy where they're like, where their hip is here, because I think the opening of the hip really allows you to get the arm back there, which is the challenging part of doing these turnarounds, I think. Yes, so if you look at your two hip bones as headlights, you want to imagine one headlight is going to the side while the other one is going front. That's why I think of it as a T stance, because the back foot, you're pointed out, and the front foot is pointing forward. And of course, front and back change as you turn, so it's in flux, but that's the basic idea.